At an ancient temple in Kyoto, Japan, there lives a monk named Dion Mickey, who is known for some truly remarkable things. He leads a simple life, rarely appearing in public, yet he is deeply respected by many for his rare and extraordinary abilities. Among them is the ability to foresee major events before they unfold. His prophecies are often rooted in Buddhist philosophy, yet they carry warnings so profound that they leave listeners quietly unsettled. According to Monk Mickey, the year 2025 will be a critical turning point for humanity. He believes that in that year, the world may face a wave of severe upheavals, ranging from climate change and new pandemics to war and increasing division within society. So, what exactly are these prophecies? Let's uncover them in today's video. But first, you'll have incredible luck if you like and subscribe before this video ends. From a young age, Dion Mickey had already shown signs that he was not like ordinary people. He possessed a unique ability to sense the scent of death, an uncanny intuition that allowed him to foresee when someone was about to die. This ability had saved him from danger on multiple occasions, and once, it even saved his life in the most unexpected way. In 1993, while still a student of Buddhist studies at Ryukoku University, Mickey often carried a camera with him, taking strolls and capturing everyday moments on film. One afternoon, as he passed by a pet shop, he saw some adorable puppies and instinctively raised his camera to take a photo. Unexpectedly, the shop owner came out and stopped him. After Mickey apologized, the owner invited him inside for coffee. He laid out 8 cans of coffee and let Mickey choose one. Mickey drank the can he selected and then left. Sometime later, Mickey returned to the shop to politely decline a job offer. Once again, the owner invited him in for coffee, presenting 8 cans just as before. Mickey drank one and departed. 3 years later, before moving to Tokyo to pursue further studies in Buddhism, Mickey dropped by the shop one last time to say goodbye. Just like the previous visits, the owner brought out 8 cans of coffee. Mickey again chose and drank only one before leaving. Everything seemed entirely ordinary until a shocking news report aired. The pet shop owner had been arrested and revealed to be the perpetrator behind a series of murders. During interrogation, he confessed that he had once plotted to kill a monk to test whether the gods truly existed. In all 3 encounters with Mickey, he had laced 7 out of 8 cans of coffee with poison. And yet, astonishingly, Mickey had picked the only safe can every single time and survived all 3 attempts. No one could offer a clear explanation for why this had happened. But to Monk Mickey, it was no coincidence. He believed it was a sign, that he was being protected, and that his spiritual path still held many hidden revelations. This bizarre story not only caught the attention of the Japanese media, but also led many to believe that Mickey truly possessed an extraordinary gift. Dion Mickey was born in 1972 in the city of Kyoto into a family with a long lineage of Buddhist monks. In Japan, it is not uncommon for monks to have families, so Mickey grew up in an environment that was both disciplined and warm, filled with closeness and care. From an early age, he was a polite and considerate child, often showing a depth of thought far beyond his years. However, when he turned 5, he began to experience things that few could understand. One night, while sleeping soundly, he suddenly awoke after hearing someone call his name. Moments later, he felt a cold hand grasp his leg and pull him down from the bed. Terrified, Mickey sat up abruptly, but there was no one there. From that point on, he began to realize that he could see things others could not. Faint silhouettes of people who had already passed away. But it wasn't just the spirits he could see. Mickey also developed the ability to detect a strange scent, one that resembled the presence of death itself. His first experience of this happened while he was having a meal with his family. Suddenly, he sensed the scent of death inside the house. After quietly observing for a moment, he realized it was coming from his father. Though he was just a child, Mickey gathered all his courage and asked, "Dad, would you like to go for a medical checkup tomorrow?" His question took the entire family by surprise. His mother scolded him, thinking he had spoken something unlucky. But just a few days later, Mickey's father was diagnosed with stomach cancer. Although doctors estimated he only had about 6 months to live, with the devoted care of his family, he managed to live for another 2 years. That was the first time Mickey truly understood that his abilities were not merely imagination. he realized that he could not only sense the invisible world, but also use that gift to warn and help those he loved. From that moment on, he began learning how to observe, to listen, and to cherish the subtle signs that most people would overlook. After the incident in which he foresaw his father's illness, monk Dion Mickey began paying closer attention to his spiritual experiences. He understood that while he did not always see spirits, the scent of death often emerged at certain critical moments. This strange ability was not unique to Mickey. At a nursing home in the United States, there was once a well-documented case involving a cat named Oscar. Normally, Oscar avoided human contact. But if he suddenly came to lie beside a particular patient and appeared unusually affectionate, it almost certainly meant that person would pass away within 24 hours. Nurses recorded that Oscar had predicted the deaths of at least 25 individuals. This story further convinced Mickey that the sensation of impending death was indeed real, just not everyone was capable of perceiving it. On another occasion, while browsing in an old bookstore, Mickey suddenly detected the unmistakable scent of death. After surveying the surroundings, he identified that the smell was coming from an elderly man standing near a bookshelf. Mickey hesitated, unsure whether to say anything. After all, telling a complete stranger that they might soon die was an incredibly delicate matter. As he was still contemplating what to do, the old man approached him and asked, "What are you looking at, young man?" Summoning his courage, Mickey replied gently, "Your face looks a little tired. I think you should consider seeing a doctor." The old man looked slightly surprised, then smiled and responded, "Thank you for your concern, but I don't need to go anymore." And with that, he disappeared. Mickey stood stunned, realizing that the man he had just spoken to might no longer have been among the living. He believed that the old man's spirit had lingered in the bookstore for a brief time, and that it was the scent of death that had allowed him to sense that presence. From a Buddhist perspective, Mickey explained that when a person dies, their soul does not immediately leave this world. Instead, it lingers for a period of 49 days, a transitional stage during which the spirit undergoes its final trials before moving on to a new existence in the cycle of reincarnation. According to Mickey, it is perhaps during this window of time that certain souls remain in familiar places, and individuals with heightened sensitivity, like himself, are able to perceive them. These encounters only deepened Mickey's conviction that life does not end with death. During a trip to India for a Buddhist exchange, monk Dion Mickey experienced an event he would never forget. It was not only a powerful spiritual encounter, but also the first time he became absolutely convinced that reincarnation was real, not just a concept found in scriptures or theoretical teachings. Upon arriving in the city of Rajgir, one of the 8 sacred sites of Buddhism, Mickey happened to meet an Indian man who could speak Japanese. This man had studied in Japan in his youth and now ran a cattle farm. As they spoke, the farmer shared a strange story about one particular cow at his farm. Whenever he spoke in Japanese, the cow would approach him, and on some occasions, it would even shed tears. Intrigued by the story, Mickey agreed to visit the farm to see it for himself. As soon as they arrived, the farmer raised his voice and called out in Japanese, "A Japanese person has come to visit." Instantly, one cow among the herd ran toward them. Mickey stepped forward, gently asked in Japanese, "Were you Japanese in a past life?" And then something astonishing happened. The cow began to cry and slowly nodded its head. Not only that, it let out soft sounds, almost like it was weeping. The moment left, Mickey stunned. He felt as though he were standing before a sentient being, one that carried the memories of a life long gone. His mind flooded with questions. Where had this person once lived? What had they experienced? Why had they been reborn as a cow? Gazing into the cow's tearful eyes, Mickey softly asked, "Do you still remember your past life?" And once again, the cow nodded. Mickey immediately began chanting the Lotus Sutra on the spot, hoping to bring peace to the cow and help dissolve its karmic suffering. Before leaving, he promised to return the following day. That night, Mickey lay awake, unable to sleep. He understood why so many people did not believe in reincarnation. They had never encountered anything so tangible. But for him, that cow had become living proof. The next morning, the farmer called with news. The cow was showing signs of severe weakness. Mickey rushed back. When he arrived, he found the cow lying in the grass, breathing faintly and clearly without strength. He knelt beside it and gently asked, "Are you okay?" The cow stirred slightly, then gave one final nod. After that, it closed its eyes and passed away. Although Mickey was never able to fully uncover the past life of that soul, he believed what happened was no coincidence. That being had transitioned into another form of life, shaped by the karmic bonds and causes accumulated in its previous existences. In 2005, after many years of spiritual practice, monk Dion Mickey was officially appointed as the 38th abbot of Rengakuji Temple. This was an ancient temple, originally built in the year 1661. However, by the time he assumed the role, the temple had fallen into serious disrepair. The tiled roof was leaking, many of the Buddha statues were damaged, some even missing limbs. From the very first days, Mickey understood that his most urgent task was to call for donations in order to restore the temple. After an initial round of cleaning, he lay down to rest in a small room behind the main hall. While sleeping, he suddenly had a strange dream. In the dream, he saw a familiar deity walk through the temple gate. It was Daikokuten, a Buddhist god of wealth in Japanese tradition, often regarded as a symbol of fortune and prosperity. But what surprised Mickey was that Daikokuten was dressed in tattered clothes and looked completely different from his usual radiant image. Just before leaving, the god waved at Mickey and said, "Farewell." Then, something fell from Daikokuten's bag. Mickey called out, "You dropped something!" But the deity only turned back, smiled, and said, "That's my gift to you." At that very moment, Mickey suddenly woke up. To his astonishment, he found that he was not in his bed, but kneeling on a sitting cushion in front of the Buddha statue. Though he had experienced many strange things in the past, this was the first time a dream had ever felt so vividly real. The following morning, Mickey decided to thoroughly inspect every corner of the temple. He believed the dream carried a message. When he stepped into the main hall, he discovered a statue tucked away in a hidden corner. It was none other than Daikokuten, badly damaged. Most notably, the bag held by the statue had a torn corner, just like the one he had seen in his dream. That moment convinced Mickey that the dream was not a figment of imagination. Perhaps the deity had truly appeared to deliver a message. After beginning the restoration of Rengakuji Temple, monk Dion Mickey devoted himself fully to raising funds for the repair of the damaged Buddha statues. However, the donations collected were still very limited, barely enough to restore a small portion of the temple. Mickey felt a deep sense of guilt for not yet being able to repair the statue of Daikokuten, the deity he believed had appeared in his dream with an important message. One morning, a young mother arrived at the temple with her son. She told Mickey that she wanted to donate all of her savings to support the restoration effort. When Mickey asked why, the woman answered sincerely, "I'm a single mother. I work all day and don't have much time for my son. I want to offer this money as a way of creating good fortune for him." Hearing this, Mickey was deeply moved. He thanked her, but gently declined the donation. Yet the mother was adamant about giving the money to the temple. In the end, Mickey accepted her offering, but silently knelt before the statue of Daikokuten to pray. Before the woman left, Mickey offered a simple suggestion, that she try her luck and buy a lottery ticket on the way home. A few days later, the mother returned to the temple in tears. She explained that after leaving the temple, she had followed Mickey's advice and purchased a lottery ticket. The result, she won a prize equal to the exact amount she had donated. Overwhelmed, she said through sobs, "I was planning to donate that money and then take my son's life and my own, because I was too exhausted from life. But your words made me pause. And now, I truly believe Daikokuten is real." But the story did not end there. After winning the lottery, she decided to take her son to eat at a restaurant they had long dreamed of visiting. However, that day the restaurant was closed. Its staff were on vacation. On the way home, she happened to walk past a horse racing betting booth. Normally, she would never pay attention to such things. But for some unknown reason, that day she bought a ticket. This time, the result was even more astonishing. She won a grand prize worth 10 million yen. With the money, she opened a small shop to support herself and her son. And with the remainder, she returned to Rengakuji Temple to make another offering in gratitude to Daikokuten. The story quickly spread throughout the Buddhist community. Many people began visiting the temple, not only to pray for luck, but also to witness firsthand the place where a miracle had taken place. A few days later, the owner of a store specializing in religious artifacts near the temple came to visit Mickey. He shared that a customer had recently commissioned a pedestal to hold a Buddha statue, but when the statue was brought in to test the fit, it turned out that the pedestal was too low and didn't match the statue's dimensions. In the end, a new pedestal had to be made, and the old one was left unused. However, upon taking a closer look at the discarded pedestal, the store owner suddenly thought of the Daikokuten statue at Rengakuji Temple. He brought the pedestal to the temple and offered it as a donation. What surprised everyone was that the pedestal fit the Daikokuten statue in the main hall perfectly, without any need for adjustment. Mickey knelt quietly before the statue, filled with a deep sense of gratitude for such an uncannily precise coincidence. But the signs did not stop there. A few days later, during the dismantling of an old structure near the temple grounds, a group of workers unexpectedly uncovered several ancient statues. They turned out to be representations of the 7 lucky gods, the Shichifukujin, who are iconic deities of fortune in Japanese folklore. Not knowing where to take the statues, the workers decided to bring them all to Rengakuji Temple, asking Monk Mickey to preserve and enshrine them. As the statues were carefully placed in the main hall, Mickey felt a surge of emotion. A simple yet profound thought arose within him. Perhaps Daikokuten did not return alone. He may have brought the other gods with him, to dwell here together. Known not only for his spiritual encounters and mysterious dreams, monk Dion Mickey has also drawn public attention for his predictions concerning major global events. In a public lecture in 2010, long before he became widely known, Mickey shared a warning that surprised many. He stated that beginning in 2010, the world would enter a prolonged cycle of instability, with each decade ushering in increasingly severe phases of turmoil. Mickey emphasized that these disasters were not abstract ideas. They were already happening right before our eyes. The first calamity, he explained, would come in the form of a widespread pandemic. He later associated this with the COVID-19 outbreak, which claimed the lives of millions across the globe in just a few years. The second calamity would be war caused by foreign aggression. According to him, the conflict between Russia and Ukraine was a clear example of this type of disaster. And more recently, so too was the ongoing war between India and Pakistan. The third calamity involved internal violence and deepening societal divisions. Mickey pointed to political assassinations, such as the death of former Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe and the attempted assassination of former U.S. President Donald Trump in 2024, as signs of this growing unrest. The fourth calamity, he said, concerned unusual cosmic phenomena and planetary movements. In ancient belief systems, the alignment of 6 or 7 planets was often seen as an omen of great upheaval in the human world. Mickey noted that such alignments had occurred and would occur again in 2025. And indeed, in February 2025, a rare alignment of 7 planets did take place. The fifth calamity was linked to unusual solar and lunar eclipses, events that could disturb the natural balance of the world. Recent total eclipses, especially in the United States, left many people with a lingering sense of unease. The sixth calamity involved extreme, unseasonal weather, leading to massive storms, hail, or snowfall in the middle of summer. Mickey referred to these strange phenomena as unmistakable warnings about climate change. The seventh calamity, he warned, was prolonged drought, which could ruin crops and lead to famine. He expressed concern that, in the near future, the world would face a food crisis if humanity did not change how it used its natural resources. What Mickey predicted back in 2010 has gradually come to pass. And what unsettles many is how closely these disasters seem to follow the very order in which he described them. First the pandemic, then war, followed by internal unrest, and now the rise of natural disasters and chaotic weather patterns. In many of his recent lectures, monk Dion Mickey has made it clear that the year 2025 will be a profoundly significant one. To him, it is not merely a moment in the timeline of history, it marks a pivotal turning point, one that could be shaped by a series of major events. Rare astronomical alignments, escalating climate disturbances, geopolitical conflict, and deepening social divides could all occur simultaneously, plunging the world into a state of instability. However, the most important point he wishes to emphasize is this: the future is not set in stone. The future is being shaped by what humanity chooses to do today. Mickey warns that if people continue to spread hatred, destroy nature, and live in fear, then calamities will draw ever closer. But if we can stop, reflect, and begin changing ourselves in a positive direction, even the darkest prophecies may never come true. He does not call on people to live in fear. On the contrary, he encourages everyone to keep their hearts pure, live sincerely, and treat one another with kindness. According to him, even small acts of change, when multiplied across individuals, can generate a wave of goodness, powerful enough to help transform the world for the better. Thank you for staying with us until the end of today's story. If Monk Mickey's insights have led you to reflect on the future, on how we are living, and how we face the world around us, feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you'd like to continue joining us on journeys into the realms of spirituality, history, and unsolved mysteries, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you won't miss our next video. We'll see you next time.